Welcome, everyone, to another podcast with dear Dr. Parviz Rashban here today. Today's topic is going to be about energy field. What is the different energy fields within the human body and how can we connect to them? Thank you for this episode, Dr. Parviz.
It's a pleasure. That's a very good question. If you look at the creation, there are two aspects of it. One is the matter part that we see, we touch, we can measure. The other one is the energy system. That energy system can turn into matter. Matter can go back to energy at all the time. And we learn these things from primary
Basic
school
chemistry.
and on.
Correct.
But to understand this, it takes time for us to really realize what it really means. When we talk about the field of energy within or around human body, this is going to bring incredible amount of additional information for all of us to know, a doctor like me or ordinary people who want to know more about creation and life. Energy is information. So energy signals deliver an order, how the matter take its shape or its behavior. To produce the energy, to produce actually the creation, this information exchange among the little pieces within this creation seems to be essential. So particles are supposed to be aware of their position and how they fulfill the requirements to create the universe the way that it is, because this energy exchange will bring finally a balance into everything, so it creates the reason for the universe to exist.
Which is incredible.
Yes.
It's incredible.
Exactly. And the goal of the universal creation is, of course, to produce life and to help this living organism to sustain and to thrive so that they could improve in terms of knowledge and understanding, from a little bacteria to a full-grown human, from a simple human to a human that has reached to higher level of consciousness, and so on and so forth. Our human body, like everything else in the universe, is made of particles. The smallest version of these particles are the atoms. They have a lot of subatomic structures as well, electrons, protons, neutrons. All of them act like packs of energy. So they create electromagnetic field, electricity, potential for electricity, and magnetism. These are all fields of information. When particles are made based on these fields, imagine the entire body, which is a creation of these particles coming together, how it could be affected in terms of energy and the signals. Remember, energy is information. When we look at atoms, we are talking about physics. When these atoms are creating molecules and they bound to each other, they create chemistry. And when these chemical molecules or compounds starts to respond to a stimulus in the environment, it becomes biology. So you see, everything is in the same level, but different science come and explain different part of it at the same time. Our cells, in order to stay in a sustainable format, they need to understand where they are and how their position is in regard to every other piece to keep this body the way it is. So the cells in us, which by the way, any one of them could live independently, when they come to collectively create our body, they need to work not only for themselves, but also for us. You see, the community starts to take shape. The meaning of the community means everything is in constant interaction with each other, knowing what is required to put in or take back as the end result to keep the tissue, the organ, the system, the body the way it is. So for that, they need to exchange information. So they know now that the cells constantly emit light. But when we talk about light, we have visible light, we have invisible light.
Right.
Yeah? But the light is there. For example, the cells use some sort of microwave frequencies to talk to each other. So cells know about what is happening in their environment. Remember, they're not working for themselves as single entity anymore. They work as for the community to keep this community in balance, which is health.
For the greater being, correct?
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Really.
So if you look at our blood, there is every element dissolved in the fluid of the blood. So we call them ions. We have ions of iron, we have ions of potassium, we have ions of chloride and things like that. They all carry plus and minus charges. And blood is constantly moving. If you remember the rule of the right thumb in physics, high school physics, it shows if my thumb shows the direction of an electron or any charged particle moving, my fingers will show the electromagnetic field that happens around it. So any electrical particle, when they move, they generate electromagnetic field. That's why when you're listening to your favorite music on your radio in your car, when you pass under this high voltage power line, there's a sudden interruption in your radio frequency, because you enter another field of electromagnetic frequency because of the movement of high voltage current in the wires on above you get a disturbance in your radio frequency that is collected by your radio system. So the blood is moving and all these particles which are charged are moving. There you go. So there must be a strong electromagnetic field around us. With Kirlian photography, we can see this very easily. Yeah, you know that. If you go on Google Image, you will have a lot of pictures like that.
So we can talk more about the disturbances too. What would cause the disturbances within us?
Wrong information.
Exactly.
You see, because the body translates the information into something. The correct information is to keep the balance. Wrong information, it will disturb our balance. So health will be compromised when balance is disturbed.
And how much of a role do we have in bringing about the correct information versus the wrong information?
That's why we are educating ourselves and people in order to slowly get better in that. That
Absolutely.
Takes a lot of education and knowledge about that. Scientists have also discovered, it is another example, that inside our heart, there's about 60,000 nerve cells which are not related to the central nervous system. These are actually heart cells, but they don't appear as endocardium. They appear as some sort of nerve tissue within the heart. So what does that mean? This means that these nerve cells injecting or projecting the emotion that the person experiences into the blood. We call the blood the line of emotion. So the blood distributes this emotional field throughout the body. You see, as if they are producing light. Light is recorded within this fluid called blood and is distributed all over the body. So it's all about information. Everything is about energy.
It's amazing. Just last night I was listening to another podcast and they were discussing how all they need is a drop of blood from here to get so much information about us. Just a drop of blood, literally.
Oh, that's nothing. From a drop of water, ocean water, there is all the information that about every creature that lives in any ocean, in any part of the ocean, what fish is crying, what is hunting, what is laying eggs.
With a drop of water.
The information is in everything. We haven't had the ability to detect this yet. For example, let's say 200 years ago, nobody knew about radio frequencies. Right now that we are sitting here, maybe millions of messages are passing through us. Somebody is talking about food, health, exercise. There are man, woman, any languages. All it takes to bring a radio and let's tune into the frequency, a device that could translate that invisible or unhearable frequencies into something that we can perceive. You see, it's already here.
Wow.
Everybody is talking through their phone. The signals are passing somewhere from here, but we have no idea until we have a device to detect that. So it's like that. Like
incredible.
All the food we eat provides about 20% of the energy we need. The rest of it is constantly absorbed by our body from the cosmic radiations, energy around our environment. So everything is feeding us constantly, but we were not aware of that.
Absolutely.
Yeah? So if you look at the very first field that covers the human body within and outside, it looks like a web kind of type structure. It's like watery field that is dynamic. It moves around us. This is called the aura. This is called prana, the chi. So it turns into circulation within us and around it. This is where acupuncture meridians go. This is where all the chakras are. This is the system that emotion is perceived within us. And within this aura, we see these wheels, which is chakra in Sanskrit. So all of them are located throughout the spine, most of them, the big ones. There's a lot more in different sizes and different shapes everywhere. But along the spine, we have major ones that pick up specific frequency and vibration and implement the idea into the organs related to that. For example, we have here throat chakra. This has to do a lot with expression.
Right.
We have forehead chakra, has a lot to do with intuition. We have the heart chakra, where the love intuitively is. We have solar plexus, where we keep all the anger and resentment and revenges and stuff like that. We have the root chakra, which is the anchoring. Yeah. So information affects us. Somebody who feels threatened constantly, they probably develop a lot of digestive problems related to colon and the lower part of the digestive system,
The gut.
yeah. So they affect us. You go to a party, they look at you with a smile without any single word
You
exchange,
get positive energy.
or with a frown. That will change everything in
Right.
you, because
It's
we
the energy
receive
you get.
information through antennas throughout our body. We've talked about this in our
Yes,
previous
yes,
broadcast,
yes.
and then suddenly the body starts to react. So in this aura, which is possible to make it visible with our quantum systems,
Yes, which we talked about last week.
yeah, this is where homeopathy works. This is where yoga, Reiki, these techniques will affect. This is, as I said, the place that the emotions are being experienced. This is also called the morphogenetic field. Remember I said when blood is moving that it produces electromagnetic field. It's a part of that too, but it's more than that. And in this morphogenetic field, as we know, the blueprint of all the organs are already there. We just don't know how to stimulate it. One day when we realize what signal to give, the body will produce a brand new kidney. We don't need kidney transplant anymore. It will correct the damaged heart valve. It will produce the new skin. It's already there. We just have to give a signal to receive the action that is desired by us.
So we just have to find out what is that signal,
So
which I think they're working on. They're starting to work on with
like people
on
like
humans.
us,
Yeah.
because there's a lot of politics involved in medicine,
Right.
and because everything is about business. We are living in a
Right.
material world.
Right.
A lot of entities, like human entities here, are only focusing on the material gaining.
Correct.
This is a self-centered behavior, and ultimately it causes a lot of imbalances. That's why we see so many strange things happen in our world today, because
Right.
the world is not a balanced state at all.
Right.
We have some people who have a lot of wealth. We have a lot of other people who have nothing.
There's
So this
extremes,
is not
for
balanced.
sure.
It's completely out of the
Right.
balance. And to gain more, they damage everything. They damage the environment. They take rights of other people because they're
Correct.
now powerful. They can do more. Yeah.
But
So-
Dr. Parviz, I'm so hopeful, more than ever in the history of human beings and as Homo sapiens, that we're really evolving to the next level right now.
Of course, absolutely.
I don't know, I'm being too optimistic maybe?
100%. That's why we are learning and we are teaching, and we are in a dynamic process of expanding our knowledge, our true
Yes.
knowledge, our consciousness. This is really important. So we had the body, we had the inside energy system, like every ion that is moving across our cellular membrane is generating electromagnetic field. So we have energy system at every single level. The single atoms, which contain a lot of electron, proton, neutrons, constantly producing light. And you see, it goes every single level. So we have the body, we have the vital force, which is the prana, the chi, or prana is the energy of the environment as well. And then in this morphogenetic field, as I said, we have the blueprint of all the organs and everything else. If there is a blockage or the system is clogged at that level, a lot of imbalances would result in a lot of diseases. Like what causes
It's a
blockage?
dominoes effect as well.
But what causes blockage in our vital force? Like losing the hope for life. Yeah, a lot of people become hopeless. Like something, for example, when they lose the joy of life. A lot of people, due to this, will go through premature aging. Yeah, traumas, toxicity, they all are factors. Some of the factors that create this. A lot of difficult emotions like jealousy, fear, sadness that constantly stays. It damages this system. As opposed to this, we have the balance function, which is creating the ease in the flow of information, which is energy. So one of the definition of life is the free flow of life without any blockages. That means health. That means vitality. That means natural flow. That means That means feeling good and optimism
Vitality.
and everything to go. It's 100% against diseases, because diseases are when things get stuck in us
Correct.
at the physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. So now there are more fields of energy around us. So we had the body, we had the vital force. Now there's another stronger field that moves faster and is even stronger than anything else we talked so far about. And that is the field of mind. Whatever happens in our mind. That means the thoughts, the beliefs we have. This is a very strong and very influential field of information on our physical body. Imagine somebody who is being told, oh, you have cancer. And immediately he or she equalizes that to sudden death or definite death. There's no way you can pull this person out of that condition. Whereas a new mother with a couple of small babies at home, and then suddenly she's told, I'm sorry, you have cancer. She says, what? Impossible. My children are going to be about, I cannot even imagine that intensity into her reaction to push that back is going to stop any negativity in her. She's much more powerful than anything like cancer could stop her. So the belief is really important. Some people believe they can't jump. Others come and without noticing the gap, they just take a step and then done.
Right.
Some people believe...
It's all the belief.
Some people believe they will be punished by God. Some people believe they're not good enough, they're not handsome, they're not beautiful, they're ugly, they're fat, they're stupid. People do that. And this keep going on and on. There's nothing left from them because the information that they import through the antennas, through the body is all blocking them. So how could they ever survive? So the moment that we become conscious, say, you know what? I accept my life. I accept myself, despite all the deficiencies that I have. I'm going to be better. But I don't blame myself for the mistakes that I did anymore. You see, now I'm changing my mentality. I'm changing the way that I perceive our perception.
This is the key.
This is the key.
Our perception.
And this perception...
I was trying to wait for how we can help our audience.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
And that perception in the majority of the cases is hidden at the subconscious level. Many people are not aware of what is going on in them.
Exactly.
And they believe this is supposed to be like that. No, that's why you and I come along millions of others who are expanding in number now to educate the public, to share their findings with them, so that hopefully maybe some people around could suddenly take something and that is good enough to change the outcome of their life.
I really hope so.
We do a cancer screening test. This is the first time. The whole concept of this test is to check the blood to look for the possibility of the process of cancer. This is not cancer yet, but am I going to do this process? A lot of people are afraid of doing that. This is not good because, hey, I want to know what is in me, because the moment that I know a process is going wrong, all I need to do is to believe that I can change it despite this process. As soon as I change my lifestyle with a positive intention that I want to create a different body, that's it. You create a new set of frequency that cancer will never grow in you anymore. That's it. That was growing in the previous body. With this body, with the new thoughts, with the new belief, with the new behavior, I'm not going to eat that. I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm not going to think about the stressful. I'll let it go. You change. Otherwise, if you remain unknown about what is happening, this thing will grow and sooner or later will grab the person.
Exactly.
Okay. So this is, you see how it is? This is beautiful. Prevention is the best cure.
100%.
And it has a lot to do with the state of mind of the people.
Right.
So a big part of my own practice is to teach people, hey, be aware of what is happening in your mind.
Absolutely.
You don't need to judge yourself. Yeah.
And if I can just wrap up and say the most important part of this podcast, I hope for myself and for everybody out there, is you have full control over your body, your mind, and hence the future that you want.
They used to say you are what you eat, and then they changed that you are what you can absorb. And now it is changed to you are what you believe. You see? Now, there's another field that is our spiritual field. This is the most highest vibrating frequencies ever. This is way beyond anything you can imagine. It's like a huge field. Our body is within it. So the soul is not confined in the body. It is beyond. The body is within the soul. A lot of people say, hey, I don't believe in soul. No, it is measurable now.
Yes.
Through
Yes.
plasma field, they measure the magnetic intensity of the soul. It's incredible.
Yeah, we
So
discussed
yes,
this
we
in a
didn't know
previous
that
podcast.
before. We thought, oh, this is bogus, because we couldn't see it. Now we
Yeah,
cannot
now it's
say
all
that.
measurable.
People who say this, that only means that they're not educated enough, because there's plenty of very strong evidence everywhere to prove all these things now 100% scientifically. So
No. That's why I'm so hopeful, because I'm realizing that everything is now really measurable, Dr. Parviz. And because of that, there's no way we can hide it anymore. And it's out in the open. And if we just open our eyes to it and we want it bad enough, we have it. Thank you so much for this
It's a pleasure.
podcast. It was very enlightening. And I think it's just the beginning of many more to come for all of us, to improve ourselves just a bit every day. Thank you for watching.
thank you for
Dr.
having me.
Parviz.